James. Welcome to Near House. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Really
Yeah.
excited for this week and glad to be here.
I'm glad that you're here too. I've heard tons of great things about some of the things that you're working on, but I'm also very excited to hear more about you. I've heard about you, but I don't really know you, so just looking forward. So tell me a little bit about you. Where are you coming from? Where are you working on? And I'll have some other questions along the lines.
Yeah, so I worked as a community manager in the Near ecosystem for a couple years. And recently I've been focused on governance and Near social. So I'm in the community building on this platform that is enabling anyone to create apps on Near, the front end.
And
apps.
that's Near Social is actually kind of like the big thing lately. They're gonna make some announcements during Near Day, which everybody should go to Near Day. I don't know all the alpha you probably do, but we don't want you to spoil none of that.
It's out there, you gotta
You just
know where to
gotta
look.
dig.
But yeah,
It's out-
alpha.near.org is the place to go for now.
okay, sounds good. So I think there's some misconceptions of people thinking again because you're super involved in the Near Social ecosystem. So some people assume that you are the founder. Can you like tell us more about what you do at Near Social? What is your role, and what are some things you're working on when it comes to Near Social?
Well, they might not know Eugene if they think that because he's the real founder, the creator of Near Social, and I'm just a volunteer in the community who's leading a community group, which is a structure in the Near developer governance system that is available to anyone. You can go create your own community group, and it requires people to collaborate. It can't just be you. It has to be a real community, and I think Near Social is a great example of a community group emerging on the platform. And there's just so much more room for development and growth. So I think that's the message I'm here to share, is that we're all in this together, and Near Social isn't a particular company or any legal entity. It's an open source project, and it's really a data protocol that can be used across platforms, and it's changing the game.
But that's, I think, what makes Near Social so unique. Like you said, if we're wanting to live by Web3 standards of decentralization, then we need to move into systems that nobody really owns them, right? So that's really exciting. And then you mentioned you're doing some working group. Can you talk about what you're leading? I think you mentioned that you're working with developers. Is there anything, what is like kind of like your day-to-day with Near Social?
So I'm hacking on the platform every day, always learning, always trying to connect with builders. So I'm looking at what other people are building and reaching out to them. We just did a hackathon to prepare for the ETH Denver hackathon. So it was all about onboarding and trying to build better experiences for developers who are just getting started on the platform. And so I'm trying to share what I'm learning as I go with anybody who's just experimenting or has a project that they already are building on Near or another blockchain, and they just need a front end app that is more reliable and truly decentralized.
So what is the coolest thing? You say you just did a hackathon. What was the coolest project you saw in that hackathon?
Yeah, so there's this game called Laser Chess, which is the first P versus P, player versus player game on Near Social, which is a big deal. I think it'll be a common primitive that other games use to match players with each other in like little battles. And so that one was really cool. There's a Sudoku game. There's a whole track for games. Shout out to the Skycross game, which is a new kind of like virtual world in development. And then on the onboarding side, we had a lot of great work on these common component libraries. So these are just like reusable widgets, or these little pieces of code that you can reference in your own version of the code to build out programs that are decentralized. So you have access to anything anyone else is building on the platform just at a click away, or just by putting in the right name of the widget that you need. So all of these libraries are starting to take shape, and we wanted to make that easier for people to learn and build on the platform. So those are the best examples, I guess. I also got to say there was an NFT polling widget, which is pretty cool. So now you can go vote with your NFTs on Near Social. And yeah, there's a lot of other cool stuff. I know we have AI bots on Near Social as well. People are, creating all kinds of interesting experiences with that resource. But no, I could go on and on about the cool stuff people are building, but it's just getting started. I think the real opportunity is to build on other blockchains. I think that would be really cool to see, like a multi-chain front-end development platform, and leveraging the power of Near to deliver that is something that only Near Social can really do.
I love that. I'm very excited to see where Near Social is gonna go, because it's technically a newer application, and a year a lot can happen.
Fun fact is, it's actually the 6th iteration of this project.
Really?
And I think it goes back before Near mainnet launch. So it's kind of like this long-term project that's gone through several iterations. Eugene actually wrote about the past, present, and future of it. So I highly recommend reading that.
I need to check that out. So, but it wasn't called Near Social before. It was called something else.
Well, it was called Near Social in the previous iteration, but that was a Mastodon instance.
I see.
So it was kind of like a stepping stone to the current version. But there was other versions before that.
Because I think that's where the misconception comes. There's been a lot of hype about Near Social lately, and I think maybe some people, and I thought it was a newer project. I didn't think it was something.
It is, there's been definitely, there have been a lot of advancements lately. Yeah. It's coming to life. I think the previous version on Mastodon was kind of an experiment to test the limits of that before going all the way with something on Near, although it was integrated with Near before. But yeah, no, I think a lot of this comes from the vision Eugene had and kind of like the motivation he had getting into blockchain in the first place, coming from, working at Google and Facebook. He's all about this kind of like open web idea. So that's the purpose of Near Social, is to build the open web.
I love that. And I know you mentioned that you have a history with Near. You started as a community manager, and now you're focusing on Near Social. But what were you doing before Near? Was Near kind of like your first introduction to like crypto, or were you just kind of like curious? Everybody has their own like crypto journey, so I'm super curious.
Yeah, so I actually got into crypto as a startup founder back in 2017.
Nice.
And I learned about crypto through Basic Attention Token from the Brave browser.
Yeah.
And I was working in the ad tech space, trying to empower creators before anyone used the acronym NFT. So that was how I got interested, realizing that I needed to explore this decentralization thing, and Ethereum was really cool, and that's kind of where I got started. Building community was kind of like a natural fit. I enjoyed that a lot, and I joined a lot of NFT communities in the early days. I organized this rare art festival with some collaborators. It was the second rare art festival, but my first crypto event was the OG rare art festival, and that changed my life because I just met all these other types that weren't finance bros. Like in crypto back then, it was a little bit different. There was a lot of
the
like
techies.
Yeah, it was a little bit smaller, so there was less of a variety. So I was really interested in the art and other use cases, and that's what got me started. And I ended up working for a privacy project that was it's called Secret Network in the Cosmos ecosystem. So I was the community manager for Secret and helped start Secret Foundation, and then joined Near after that. So it was kind of like this comparison of the Secret Network community programs with the Near Guilds program that led me to join. And we had a community fund back then, so I took charge of this program to decentralize funding in the early days, and we were just experimenting, and I think we're still experimenting with all kinds of new approaches, old approaches, and just never stopping with that whole movement to figure out what works best, what doesn't work, and how we can actually take this to the next level.
Yeah, that was a great story. Thanks for sharing that.
I mean, it's not much of a story. It's really just all about the community. That's what guided me along the way.
That's what Near's about, community. That's awesome. And earlier you mentioned you had a cool story. I want to hear that story.
Well, you were asking about
a crazy
some kind of cautionary tale or something like that. And I will definitely say, do your own research about anything and everything in crypto, but also keep your mind open to anons, because I learned the hard way that some anons can end up being your best friends and some of your best colleagues and collaborators in the space. So if you get random DMs and messages, don't always write them off. You know, a lot of them are scams and nonsense, but sometimes you can read through the lines and find a diamond in the rough, and you know it can just really show you the power of a global community with people around the world connecting in ways they never could before.
I actually agree a lot with that. I think a lot of the anons that you see in crypto are some of the brightest minds. They're just a little shy.
Yeah. Well, you know, not doxing anyone, but this anon ends up at the Near Foundation today. So he has gone from community contributor all the way to, you know, leader in the ecosystem. And, you know, I've just learned so much from him. And I know that my career wouldn't have been the same without that experience because I learned a lot.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you for being here. I hope you enjoy your time at Near House.
Yeah, thank you.
And I can't wait to see what you work on with Near Social.
Yeah, keep an eye out for the BOSS, the blockchain operating system.
I love that. Okay.
Yeah, and there's going to be plenty of bounties to go around for Near Social builders. Definitely check it out under the Near bounties. A lot of them are for Near Social.
I love that. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me.